Live from Arkansas' streaming news leader, this is THV 11 Morning News at 7 on THV 11 Plus.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us here on THV 11 Plus. Already had a great couple of hours on THV 11. We've got chilly temperatures. We've got traffic picking up. We've got cheese dip left and right. Please hang out for the next couple of hours and we'll get your Thursday right. I agree with you.
Yeah, anytime cheese dip is involved, it's going to be good.
I have heated up cheese dip at 7 in the morning.
Absolutely.
You need cheese dip anytime.
Well, I mean, we get up so, well, even if I didn't get up early, honestly, even on a Saturday, I'll get up and eat at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And you said the Bean family loves
Yeah,
Mexican.
we love Mexican food.
Good. Well, we've got a story for you coming up.
Yeah, we'll eat it up. Well, right now we've got some traffic. A little bit of volume already to talk about on our roads this morning. It's starting to pick up early. I knew this was going to be the case. It's just been like that all week, and it seemed like a lot of cars already out on the road extra early this morning. So this is what it looks like on 30 eastbound right before the 430 interchange. Sun coming up. We've got a little bit of volume here. Let's see where our slowdowns are right now. So the North Terminal interchange and on 57 southbound, we're already seeing it slow down. What used to be 167. And so right when you're getting to the McCain exit, expect some of those slowdowns, and before that too. And then 40 westbound already North Hills Boulevard looking slow. It just seems kind of early for this to already be this slow. And then 30 eastbound here before the 430 interchange, right after Alexander, we're seeing some slowdowns. It's a little slower there than it is, but already backing up anywhere from the 430 interchange almost to the Bryant exit. Our drive times are starting to increase into downtown Little Rock from Conway, Benton, and Cabot. We were in the teens, Benton and Cabot, but yeah, now 20, 21 minutes to downtown. So Tracy, looks like it's going to be a busy morning.
Well, weather-wise, if you are in some traffic, the sky is absolutely glowing. Look how beautiful this is. I'm going to let you see this whole thing. It is nice out there. It is a little cold, so if you're going to go out and enjoy this beautiful sunrise, take a coat. You're going to need it. Sunrise officially 7:16. We're still a little less than 15 minutes away from that. Sunset at 5:22. But you know, if you start out like this, it's going to be a good day. We're not going to see those winds quite as breezy as yesterday, but it is colder. That boundary brought in some cooler air. It is about 18 degrees cooler, so you're certainly feeling the impacts of that. But here's what to expect for this week. That growing list of burn bans. I'm continuing to just hit refresh just to make sure I'm not missing one. You can text again if we don't have one, 501-376-1111, and just let me know that your county judge has issued that. We're going to see these cold temperatures continue as we're heading into the weekend. In fact, the coldest air of the season Saturday night into Sunday morning. And unfortunately, very little rain is expected, but we do have a chance for our friends to the north and northeast. But we'll talk all about the cold weather, the burn bans, everything you need to know to get ready for your weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
Breaking overnight, yet another shooting involving an ICE agent in Minneapolis is now fueling new clashes between protesters and federal officers.
Federal officials say an ICE agent shot a Venezuelan migrant in the leg after the man fled a traffic stop and a struggle broke out. The agent firing after allegedly being attacked by people armed with shovels.
Authorities say the man who was shot was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The agent also reported to be okay.
Now, this all comes exactly 1 week after another ICE agent fatally shot a woman in Minneapolis during a separate encounter. CBS News correspondent Jared Hill has the very latest.
New clashes between protesters and law enforcement overnight in Minneapolis, sparked by yet another shooting by federal agents. The city's mayor, Jacob Fry, is pleading for calm.
Go home. We cannot counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos.
The Department of Homeland Security said a Venezuelan migrant was shot in the leg after he and 2 other people attacked a federal agent with shovels and a broomstick during an arrest operation Wednesday evening. DHS says ICE was pursuing the man after he fled a traffic stop. They say after the shooting, he and others barricaded themselves inside an apartment.
Eventually, federal agents made entry into the residence, and the individual was brought to an ambulance where he has been transported to the hospital.
This latest shooting exactly 1 week after ICE agent Jonathan Ross shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Good. Yesterday, people gathered for a prayer vigil in her honor. With Minneapolis now on edge, last night Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz urged President Trump to pull back the federal immigration surge.
End this occupation. You've done enough.
They can protest all they want. We're just going to double down and enforce the law.
President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, says ICE operations will continue. Jared Hill, CBS News.
This morning, we're also learning ICE agents will be staying in Minnesota for now, with a judge declining to issue a temporary restraining order.
The ruling follows a lawsuit filed by the state and the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Now, the judge says more time is needed because of the case's importance to constitutional law and will keep it on the, quote, front burner.
The federal government has until Monday to respond. The state has until January 22nd.
Back here at home, the GOP primary for an Arkansas House seat is back on after a controversial court ruling.
A judge says a past hot check case does not disqualify one candidate, meaning Republican voters in Southeast Arkansas will now have options once again.
We have discussed this as it is the latest decision. The controversy is all centered around House District 94, where Republican Jeff Wardlaw has reached his term limits and can't run again. However, his wife, Missy Wardlaw, running to replace him, but her eligibility has been challenged in court. The Republican primary for Arkansas House District 94 back on after a Pulaski County judge ruled this week that Missy Wardlaw remains eligible to run. Her opponent, John Kyle Day, filed a complaint arguing Wardlaw should be disqualified because of a 2018 hot check case, claiming it counts as a conviction under Arkansas law. However, Wardlaw's attorney argued she never pled guilty and never went to trial, meaning there was no conviction. Judge Kathy Compton ruled that the case outcome listed as guilty, the bond forfeited, does not amount to a conviction, saying it's equivalent to paying a speeding ticket.
I think generally we look at words as having their ordinary and natural meaning, and guilty means guilty. My understanding before yesterday was that this meant it's a conviction. So I think there's a real question in Clark County and other questions. If your case ends in guilty bond forfeiture, what happened?
She will be continuing with her campaign. The court also found that a bond forfeiture is not an admission of guilt, and that's an important distinction.
Day may appeal the ruling, but time is limited with the primary set for March 3rd. Whoever wins the Republican primary will advance to the general election in November. As of right now, they face no opposition in November's general election. Now, Judge Compton has ruled on multiple election cases this cycle, including a separate decision last week disqualifying another Republican candidate in a neighboring district. As for District 94, unless an appeal is successful, Missy Wardlaw will remain on that ballot. Also this morning, another ballot fight heading to court in Jefferson County. Sheriff candidate Mark Cannon is asking a judge to remove Sheriff Lafayette Woods from the March ballot. Cannon claims a sealed misdemeanor theft conviction makes Woods ineligible to run. An amended lawsuit filed Wednesday also asked the court to void any votes cast for Woods. A hearing is scheduled for January 27th in Pine Bluff, just 3 weeks before early voting begins on February 16th. Meanwhile, at the White House, President Trump says Iran has paused planned executions as protests there continue in the country. CBS News reports medical officials inside Tehran believe the protester death toll has now reached at least 12,000. At the same time, a longtime U.S. ally is pushing back on the administration's push to acquire Greenland. Denmark's foreign minister rejected the idea during meetings with the vice president and secretary of state, even as the president insists the U.S. needs Greenland for national security, including a possible placement of a, quote, Golden Dome missile defense system aimed at Russian ballistic threats. Lawmakers, however, remain skeptical.
The idea that we have to own the country in order to protect our national security is just nonsense.
If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in and China's going to go in. And there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it.
On Capitol Hill, Vice President Vance broke the tie to block limits on President Trump's Venezuela strikes. Lawmakers say Secretary of State Marco Rubio will seek congressional approval before major operations.
Coming up on 7:10 this morning, also at the White House, President Trump signs a law bringing whole milk back to school lunches for the first time in more than a decade. The Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act allows schools to offer flavored and unflavored milk at all fat levels under federal meal programs. The president calls it a win for students' health and American dairy farmers. Nearly 30 million children in the program can now get whole milk without it counting against fat limits, and parents can still request non-dairy alternatives. The bill will soon bring whole milk back to cafeterias nationwide. Arkansas Senator John Boozman attended the signing of the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act into law, releasing a statement shortly afterward, calling it, quote, a milestone for the health and well-being of children nationwide. Boozman also highlighting the work done across the aisle to get this bill passed. He said restoring whole and reduced fat milk will help fuel student success in the classroom while supporting America's dairy producers.
In a 341-79 vote, the House has passed a two-bill spending package, which funds the State Department, Treasury Department, and other related agencies through September 30th. It comes as Congress continues to work to avoid yet another government shutdown that could come January 30th.
As the package heads to the Senate, Arkansas Congressman Fred Schill released the following statement saying, quote, this is a good bill for Arkansas and our national security, and it shows House Republicans are delivering on the priorities Americans care about. A quick reminder that today is the final day of open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act subsidies that expired January 1st.
Although the House voted last week to extend them, lawmakers remain deeply divided this morning. The Senate has not voted yet, but Senator Tom Cotton says they're working on a solution.
At the same time, Cotton insists Democrats missed their chance to act. In a statement, Cotton says the COVID-era health subsidies do not lower costs and mostly benefit insurance companies. He blames Obamacare for rising premiums. Let's talk traffic now with Ashley King and a look at the roads at this hour this morning.
Yeah, busy week. We've had a lot of people getting out early on this Thursday morning already. Looking at traffic right now, 7-Eleven, we're seeing those slowdowns. This is on Interstate 57. Southbound traffic around the McCain exit. We're seeing a little bit of brake lights there as they get closer to the 40 interchange. So let's get a closer look at where the slowdowns are for your morning commute. And right now, the North Terminal interchange, we can see moving at 29 miles per hour here, 40 westbound, North Hills Boulevard exit. Also slow 30 westbound, headed towards the Arkansas River Bridge there. So 32 miles per hour at the Curtis Sykes exit, or getting close to that. And 30 eastbound already backing up here and moving slowly anywhere from the 430 interchange, but especially between Bryant and Alexander. Expect some major slowdowns there, 30 eastbound. Drive times are starting to increase if you're coming to downtown Little Rock. Okay from Conway, but Benton and Cabot, we're seeing those numbers increase there, 22 minutes and 23 minutes. So Tracy, just another busy morning on our roads here in Central Arkansas.
Yeah, it's a cold morning too, so hopefully you have warmed up. The car is ready to go because we are starting out with the temperatures around 28, and with that light wind out there, even that northerly breeze only at 5 miles per hour, still making it feel like it's 23. So again, grab that coat as you're heading out the door, especially for the kiddos at the bus stop. Today, a lot of sunshine. It's going to be beautiful. The winds will be much more calm than they were yesterday, although a little breezy. Looking for that high in the mid to upper 40s. It's going to be beautiful. We've got a slight warm up as we're heading into Friday, but boundary is going to come through on Friday again tomorrow, and that's going to reinforce that cold air and settle in. When you wake up on Sunday morning, that wind chill is going to be around 16 degrees, a few single digits to our north. The entire state very cold. So again, make sure you are streaming those faucets, watching out for the pets, and of course watching out for each other and being very careful about how you do heat your home. We'll talk more about these cold temperatures, and we've also got to talk about these burn bans continuing to see counties added. We're not really going to see a lot of rain, measurable rain that will make a big difference for quite some time. So we'll talk more about the impacts of that coming up in a few minutes.